on DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln. It's good to see you, Ed. How you been? I feel like it's been since last year.
Yeah, I know, really. But yeah, no, I'm doing great. Had a nice little break there early January. Nice cruise I was able to get on. So
there you go.
Refreshed and rejuvenated, ready to roll.
There you go. Good. Well, thanks for making time for us. You've been a busy man lately, and appreciate you taking some time out to talk with us. And I tell you what, Ed, you got away at a good time because, man, has it been cold in Illinois. Let's start here and kind of recap January, if you will, sir. What I mean, we started, you told I had forgotten about this because January just got so darn cold. I had forgotten we started January pretty warm, and then all of a sudden the bottom literally just dropped on out. Let's recap January.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, we started out the first 3 or 4 days were roughly normal highs in the 30s, but then we hit record highs near record highs, 8th and the 9th. In the low to mid 60s, and then even the day before that on the 7th, upper 50s. So we really were warm from the 5th all the way through the 9th with much above normal temperatures. Mm-hmm. So that kind of set the stage. You're like, wow, this winter thing isn't so bad. And then all of a sudden, Mother Nature said, hold my beer, watch this, and turned off the heat. And we got a little Siberia action in Illinois. So we have been very cold since the 23rd, and we haven't even hit the freezing mark in about 10 days. So
it has been cold. It has been really cold. And I was putting my budget together for February, and I normally I can pretty well guess what my water bill is going to be, but I have a feeling this month it's going to be a little bit bigger just because of all the dripping we had to do with the faucets to keep from freezing. So but yeah, it's been cold. And Ed, looking at today, we might just hit a balmy 32. I could maybe spare a sweatshirt today instead of the coat.
I know, man. It's going to feel really nice after having had that bitter cold. Wind chills have been below zero for so many days I can't even count. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that 32 today is going to just definitely feel nice.
I'll tell you what, before we get into the forecast for the week ahead, let's take time and recap January a little further. Where did we end up in terms of temperatures? We had a couple snow events in there as well. Where did we end up in January, Ed, from a temperature, precipitation, and we'll kind of go from there. How about those two things?
Sure. Temperature-wise, the balance got tipped below normal, and 2.5 to 2.6 degrees is below normal. So that's a lot after having that really warm start. If we had not had that warm start, this could have been one of the top 10 coldest winters or coldest Januaries. But we just had that abnormally warm start. So it's still pretty cold. 2.5 degrees below normal is a lot. And then precipitation-wise, we were just a little below normal, 1 inch below normal there, but not in the snowfall, really. I mean, I loaded up a summary on Cocoa Raws, and the area generally had, looks like 6.5 to 7 inches of snow, which is above normal for January. January, typically, we would see roughly, let me look at here, I've got it, 5.7. So, yeah, just a little above normal for January. But the rainfall amounts the moisture content was about 1 inch below normal because it was a fluffy snow at both times that we really had much snow. So wasn't a lot of water content there.
Right. And it really didn't rain. It just snowed. Like it didn't go from rain to snow. It was just snow. And any time you would get moisture, it was always snow. It wasn't, there wasn't freezing rain. There wasn't rain. It was just snow. It felt like the whole time, at least in, our neck of the woods. I'm sure other parts of the state were a little different there, but interesting.
Yeah, that winter storm that hit on the 24th, 25th actually hit southern Illinois with 12 to 14 inches of snow. And then, as you went further north, Peoria, we only had, I think, 2.5 inches or so. So, we've got folks in the southern half of Illinois that are just digging out probably still, even, when you get 14 inches of snow.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's been was very snowy. And I don't remember, and I feel like December we may have been coming out of the drought a little bit. Can we talk drought conditions and maybe where we're at here at this point going into February?
Right. Yeah. As I'm looking at the soil moisture sensors, this one here is near Springfield, but it's pretty reflective, I think. Champaign one is similar as well, but we recovered a bit in December towards the median on the 4-inch, and even the 8-inch went above normal. But now January, it's kind of dropping off as we're heading into February here. So we're starting to come back to the median, maybe 50 percentile and even below.
Mm-hmm.
So the drought is still there. It's hanging on. 1 inch of moisture still, it can make a difference. So we actually have a really deep frost depth now. It's 8 to 12 inches.
Yeah.
So even if it rains from here on, for a while, it's just, that frozen layer is just going to make it run off into any, ditches, streams. It's not going to replenish the soil at all.
Yeah.
And that's all over the area. Although like DeWitt, I think, we're up at about 10 inches of frost depth, frozen ground. So
Wow.
At this point, we've sealed the ground off from beneficial rains until maybe March.
Wow, that's not good. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, our guest on the Zoom today, and it begs the reminder there, Ed. Of course, we get all this snow. My wife and I were south this weekend and noticed all the snow down there. It begs the reminder, just because of all of the snow, that doesn't mean that's going to be all the replenishment that we need. And why is that?
Yeah, because at the time that the snow eventually melts, if there's any kind of frost depth, it really doesn't go into giving that soil its needed moisture content there. So it's just something that happens in winter. If we can get really good rains in December and early January before that frost depth sets in, then that helps. But now that ship has sailed now. So unless we can get rid of it's not saying that we're not going to thaw. We've had pretty warm, late Februarys before too, as we head into March. So we'll see if we can maybe beat that down and get some rain into the ground. But at this point, probably not going to see a lot of relief from the drought, from the snowpack that's down there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Was there anything else about January, Ed, that stood out to you worth mentioning from a data perspective? I guess what are the normal temperatures? You might have said this and I missed it. Forgive me. What are the normal temperatures for January? Where did we end up? What's normal precipitation? And again, where did we end up? You may have said it and I missed it, so forgive me if that's the case.
No, yeah. Mid 30s is the normal high. We start out the month at 35, dip to 34 in the middle of the month, and end the month of normal high at 35. So January's pretty stagnant there. And same thing with low temps. It's basically upper teens, 19 down to 17, then up to 18. So we're roughly in the upper teens and mid 30s for highs and lows. And we were below normal. We were 2.5 degrees below normal because of that really cold last half of January.
Okay, gotcha.
And then precipitation-wise, we normally see about 2.17 inches of rain or water equivalent, and then we were about an inch below that. So, with our 6 to 7 inches of snow, we only had about 1 inch of water in that. So it's basically didn't get a lot of support there for our drought conditions.
Sure. How did snow fall in our area, particularly at your Lincoln office? How did that compare to where we normally fall in January?
Yeah, we were just slightly above normal. The snowfall in January is roughly 5.7 inches on our climatology. It's a 30-year climatology from 1991 to 2020. So it doesn't include the big blizzards of the 70s or whatever. But,
okay.
So our normals in the last 30 years, so to speak, are 5.7 inches of snow. And we were just a little above that with the fluffy snows that we had, 6 to 7 inches of snow general across the area here.
Sure. Very good. Well, on that note, Ed, let's dive into February, get into February a little bit. First of all, let's get an outlook for the week ahead. What do we have coming up this week in terms of weather and our daily outlooks?
Yeah. It's actually not going to be too bad. Not seeing a lot of precipitation at all. I mean, for a while we were targeting Tuesday for a little band of snow, maybe a couple inches even. But as time has gone on, that was Friday's kind of solution. And then as we come into Monday here, that shifted way south. So, we're actually going to be, roughly around freezing today, a little bit below tomorrow, as a cold front kind of comes through, 29 for a high. Then we clear out, sunshine on Wednesday, but colder, 26, mid-20s, not bad, but it's 10 below normal. Then we warm up above freezing for the late part of the week, 32 Thursday, 38 Friday. No precipitation that I'm seeing in there, nothing, And then we have a cold front Friday night. So highs on Saturday, about 28, and then on Sunday back up to 34. So, not too bad. Lows are going to be in the teens to low 20s, maybe a mid 20 on Thursday night, but, not painful. No real precipitation of note. So it's going to kind of be just a typical winter week and no real travel problems.
Mundane week. I see, excuse me, Ed, do I see a warm up a little bit on Friday? Maybe reach the big 40?
I know it's going to be close. Yeah, 38 degrees. It's going to, some spots nearby maybe creep up to 40 degrees. So that'll be nice. That'll be real nice.
That would be real nice. I tell you what, anything but below freezing at this point would be good. I'm having a squirrel moment here, Ed. So I apologize. There was a week in February. Was it the 16th, 17th? We got maybe the 14th, 15th, 16th. We got super, super cold. Were the wind chills of any note? I know like 3-4 years ago we reached like 40 below zero. Were the wind chills in January anywhere near that or notable of like top whatever? I could be off my rocker this morning.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, record wind chills are generally 45 below and colder. We don't really track them specifically with each day, but just looking back at some of the wind chill recordings. And some of our cold snaps. 2019 was a cold snap, and in 2014, those were the two big cold snaps, real intense cold. We had wind chills though, of 30 to 35 below zero. So yeah, it was close. It was painfully close, and painfully cold, I should say. And those days where the biting cold can cause frostbite in literally 15 minutes. So it wasn't far off, but there were no record wind chills this time. It was just an extended period of bitter cold.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, didn't mean to jump back on you like that.
No, that's fine.
Let's get through the rest of February. Now I will confess that I don't have the weather service 30-day outlook or whatever pulled up, but it looks like maybe next week we could warm up even more. What's the rest of the month look like here?
Yeah, right. Above normal temps in the 6 to 10 day and the 8 to 14 all the way through the 15th of February. Is looking above normal temperatures, so that should put us in the 40s because, this month mid 30s is normal and 40s aren't that far away. So, and we're in the 40th to 50th percentile of tendency toward above normal temperatures all the way through the middle of the month. So that looks pretty good. Precipitation wise, when I looked out into the fantasy forecast of our American model, it looks like rain on the 12th and the 14th. The next two systems that are coming in are going to be warm during that warm spell, and we're more than likely going to have rain as our next set of measurable rain, measurable precipitation.
Yeah. So above normal for the month. Remind us, and we start to see, this is what everybody's kind of excited about, I think, at least, is we start to see more and more sunshine underneath the sky or in the sky. So where do we start the month, Ed, in terms of temperatures? Where do we finish?
Sure. February starts off around 36 for a high, 18 for a low. And actually, we warm up quite a bit. Normal highs are 45 by the end of the month. Normal low is 26. So that's going to feel real nice if we can start to peg near above normal. But the 3 to 4 week outlook actually shows below normal temperatures for the last half of February. So that's not good.
That's no bueno.
We may have a little low but cold air come back and bite us at some point in that last 2 weeks of the month to tip the balance. For those 2 weeks in the below normal range.
We're gonna get teased a little bit in February, is what you're telling me. Yeah.
Enjoy the warm up around Valentine's Day.
Yeah, sure. How about precipitation, Ed? Where do we find ourselves on the outlooks there, and what's normal for February?
Sure. Yeah, we're looking at above normal well, actually near normal precipitation for the first half of the month. And then actually that extends all the way through the end of the month. So roughly should see, in February, we typically see roughly 2 inches of moisture hit the ground. And
All right.
it looks like that's going to be the case this year, although some of that might be rain here in the middle of the month. I'm not sure, precipitation wise near normal the last half of the month, but that's probably going to be more snow side with that colder air coming in. So
Gotcha. Well, on that note, Ed, I'll tell you what, let's take a break and come back with some more. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, my guest on the Zoom. More to come with Ed on the morning show.
WHOW.
/actively engaged. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat lower at this hour. March corn down 3 3/4, 424.5. May corn 432 1/4, down 3.5. New crop December 453.5, down 2.5. March beans 1059, down 5 1/4. May beans down 5 3/4, 1071.5. November new crop 1073.5, down 6 1/4. March Chicago wheat 528, down a dime. March KC wheat 533.5, down 11 1/4. March bean meal 292.90, down 70 cents. March bean oil 52.90, down 61 cents. Livestock trade. March feeders up 707, 367.35. February live cattle up 310, 238.95. February lean hogs up 77 cents, 88.02. Energy market, March crude oil is down 289 at this hour, 62.32. RFD Radio Network.
Hey, it's Shane from Highway 51 Exchange, your mower and equipment service pros just south of Clinton. Click our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com or give us a call to schedule your free pickup and delivery today. Highway 51 Exchange.
Longview Community Bank is now open in Clinton, investing in rural Illinois. I'm Vice President Nate Sams. Stop by for a visit or to find out how we provide real local banking. Click our banner ad at the top of the local news page on DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom. Well, Ed, let's get into the spring a little bit. What are the outlooks for, let's say, the February, March, April time frame? What do we know? What are they telling us?
Sure, yeah. The outlooks for temperature have us smack dab right in the middle of equal chances. There's warmer below to the south, and then a little colder to the north. So we're kind of in the battleground, which means we'll probably have a few storm systems. And if you look over to the precipitation potential side, it's above normal. And, the second tier, so that's the 40th to 50th percentile above normal precip. So, we could have a little bit of rainfall or maybe even some snow hitting the ground in that March time frame, maybe even in early April. So, that's 3 months. So, you're going to get rain in there as well. But, above normal precip, that may bode well. To maybe get a thaw on the ground and get some moisture in there.
Yeah. Are we out of the woods for more snow events, or what are you thinking here, Ed?
Yeah, it looks like we'll probably have at least one more event where, shovelable snow for a good portion of the area, I would anticipate, especially with that colder last half of February. Once we get into March, though, the snow events are generally fleeting and typically not as deep. But, those springtime systems, depending on if you're on the colder or warm side, they have a lot more energy as we get into that March time frame. So whatever it's doing is going to do a lot of it. So if you just, the potential is, the frequency is low, but the potential impact is really high if we do get a snow event. So but February is generally where we start to see, the end of what we typically would get for snowfall.
Sure.
March is much lower.
Yeah. And then, of course, April, still a chance. I mean, we've seen some Easter snows over the years, but, I tell you, Ed, it sounds like maybe we're in for, another up and down spring, might be nice for a stretch, cool for a stretch, all those things.
Yeah. And we typically, after La Nina winters, we've had some pretty volatile springs for severe weather. So, between March 14th and April 2nd or 3rd last year, we had, I think, maybe 40 tornadoes in Illinois and a lot of severe weather. So just be ready for a pretty active, stormy spring, I think, as we head towards that April time.
Sure. Very good. Very good. Well, on that note, Ed, I've got about 2 minutes here with you, sir. Anything else we haven't touched on? Any education campaigns, the Weather Service is promoting, anything like that you want to put out there?
Yeah. March, the first week of March is always our severe weather preparedness week. And we always have a tornado drill on that first Tuesday of the month to coincide with the siren sounding at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. on Tuesday of the first week of March, we're going to have our annual tornado drill. Well, your weather radios will go off. It'll be a weekly test. It won't be a tornado warning, but we want everybody to practice and prep up and go through their plans. Where am I going to go in a tornado? So that's coming up, a big awareness campaign. That's one of our big ones of the entire year.
Very good. Well, on that note, Ed, about a minute left with you. Again, looking at the outlooks, is it too soon to maybe peek into summer, the planning season of, April, May? Is it too soon to look into those things?
No, not at all. Yeah, above normal temperatures, April, May, June. Precip wise, equal chances there. But it looks like we might have a spring where we don't go from winter to summer. I know we've done that sometimes, but yeah, even if I look at May, June, July, above normal temperatures, that's good. A good sign, I think. And June, July, August. So the bulk of the summer months above normal temperatures, equal chances for precip all the way through there. So
sure.
Yeah, not looking too bad.
Very good. Very good. Well, on that note, Ed, I'll tell you what, again, where do folks go for all things weather forecast, weather data? How about that?
Weather.gov/Lincoln.
Very good. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom. Ed, appreciate you, my friend. Always good to talk to you. Network news comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show. The show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.